Christine Jardine to move.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'd also like to thank the Backbench Business Committee and all those who supported my application to move that this House calls on the Government to develop a protocol for ensuring that bereaved children are made aware of and have access to the practical and emotional support through public and third sector agencies that are available to them. Mr Deputy Speaker, I have a jigsaw puzzle at home that my sisters had made for me recently for a big birthday. It's an old photograph of the family at Christmas. They are just 7 and 12. And it's the last Christmas before Dad died. They didn't have to explain to me why they'd chosen that picture. I knew the moment I unwrapped the present. It's an unspoken bond between the three of us and our mum when she was alive, and one we know is understood by families all over this country. Because I have an interest to declare, of course. I am both an adult who was bereaved as a child and the mother of a bereaved child. And every day more children in this country experience what we did when their lives are turned upside down and they face the trauma, very often sudden and inexplicable, of having lost a loved one, not just a parent, a loved one. Every 20 minutes a parent dies in this country, and around 127 children are bereaved every day. But that figure is only for losing a parent, and I say only advisedly, but it only applies to parents. We don't have figures for children who lose grandparents, siblings, or friends, all of which are traumatic losses for a young person. Certainly.
I'll thank the Honourable Member for giving way and also for allowing this debate and time for it. Supporting bereaved children is incredibly important, and having the physical presence of their loved ones is a huge part of that. My Broxtowe constituent Aaron lost his wife Bernadette in childbirth. Aaron did not qualify for leave or pay due to the time he had been employed. So whilst going through the heartache of losing his wife and raising his son Tim, Aaron then had the added stress of the employment situation that he faced. No one should be in that position. So does my honourable friend agree with me that there must be a day one right to leave and pay to those who lose a partner in childbirth so that children can be with their loved ones?
Thank you very much. I thank the Honourable Member for his intervention, and the circumstances he outlines are dreadful and so affect so many people in this country every day. And I actually believe highlight the fact that we very often don't acknowledge the amount of support, the help, the practical and emotional support that people need to go through. And as he says, he should have had support, been able to look after his child without having to worry about the financial implications. So thank you. Just recently, actually, I was privileged to meet a group of bereaved children who had come to Parliament to hand in a petition at Downing Street asking for exactly what we are talking about here today. Listening to them, I couldn't help but get frustrated for them that so little has changed in the decades since I went through what they had experienced. Because although there are systems, supports, schools offer support, and there are wonderful charities organisations like Winston's Wish who had arranged that day, I'm told that it's still the case that unless your family is already in touch with social services, those services have no way of knowing about a child's bereavement or that it needs support. It means bereaved children in this country must still often rely on luck and search engines to find the help that they need. And it really is all children of all ages, even those who might consider themselves, as I did, a young adult, who need support through those circumstances. But at the moment, we've no official way of keeping track and matching up children with organisations. Organisations who tell me they know the children are out there. They know that they need their help. They just don't know who they are, where they are, or sadly, how to get in touch with them. Child Bereavement UK told me, As a service that works tirelessly to meet the needs of bereaved children, young people and families, one of the hardest things to hear someone say is, "I only wish I'd known you were there when this happened to our family." Services like Child Bereavement UK are there, but without knowing who and where bereaved children and young people are, as I say, they are invisible, and the chances of them finding the practical and emotional support they need to navigate life after bereavement are severely diminished. And that's a crucial point. It's about navigating life after bereavement, and not just immediately after. As a child, it can be more than that immediate period. I was lucky, my sisters were lucky. We had support around us, Mum was brilliant. But maybe there was something else we could have had, more support we could have had to make it easier for us and for her. Something we didn't know about, because it is tough. And you just get through the challenges as you can. And not just then. Because, and apologies if this seems ungrateful to anyone, but one of the reasons I hope the government is able to take this on, take it across departments, and recognise that it is a cross-departmental issue, is that what we are dealing with is a lifelong challenge. It doesn't go away miraculously when you hit 30 or 40 or 50. In fact, I've no idea when it will go away, and if it ever does, I'll be grateful. In fact, more than one person I spoke to cautioned me when I began to raise this issue that I might just be opening an emotional can of worms for myself. Because one group I've spoken to, adults bereaved as children, tell me that anyone who loses a parent, grandparent, sibling or friend can be affected in ways that they don't recognise. And they can be affected later in life when it comes back. They have an increased risk, I'm told, of depressive symptoms and anxiety. They also have physical health symptoms and can suffer serious illness, have riskier health behaviours and face earlier mortality. Educationally, we can suffer lower than average scores. We're less likely to be employed at the age of 30 and are overrepresented, sadly, in the criminal justice system. And those are only the personal implications. Because for the NHS, there are ongoing costs with dealing with people who have mental health issues or physical health issues as a result of not getting the support they needed when they were a child, and it comes back in later life. Then there's the economic impact of undermining the contributions that so many people could make to our economy by not making sure they have the support they need at a traumatic time. So the ramifications are huge. They are much more than personal. In the past few months, I've spoken to the voluntary sector, written to the Scottish Government, and sat down with the former Children's Minister, the Right Honourable Member for East Surrey. Without exception, they have been supportive. Everyone recognises that there is a problem. Everyone wants to help and outlines the wonderful services that there are there. But pinning down the solution is the problem. How do we connect these services with children who are grieving? That's the issue that everyone seems to grapple with. But you know, should it really be difficult? As I've said in previous instances when we've talked about this, we've debated the merits of a registry for bereaved children. In modern society, it shouldn't be difficult to find people who need support. We've registers and statistics for just about everything. A digital society makes a lot of things easier. It's often too easy to keep track of things. For example, my medical records, I'm sure all of our medical records, are online to make it easier for the NHS anywhere in the country to know our history if we collapse somewhere away from home. And I hate to think of exactly what information can be scanned from my passport or my national insurance number. But if, God forbid, anything were to happen to any of us and we had children, there would be no way of checking if they were getting the support they needed and if they were okay, if they were safe, looked after, coping with the trauma they were going through, or maybe just needing someone outside their immediate family to talk to. Because your immediate family is vital and supportive. And schools do a fantastic job in supporting young children. But that may not be the ideal way of ensuring that every child gets the right help. What if they move home to a different school? Who tells the school? Do they tell the school? Or are they too embarrassed? What if they don't want their classmates to know just how bad they are feeling, that they need more than the school can provide? Where is the network to ensure that they get it? And that is why today I am calling on the government to look at how we establish a new and necessary protocol to help a wide range of public bodies, the NHS, local authorities, schools, help them to establish where and how children who are grieving can find the support that is right for them. Perhaps put them in touch with a charity organisation that can give them support. And make the children's carers and the children themselves feel valued and looked after. This should be a low-cost, low-effort task, actually, to help the charities connect with grieving families. But to help them in this process would also have undeniable benefits for so many people in our communities. It would help them process difficult traumatic experiences and overcome those problems I talked about earlier. All we need to do, I believe, and all I ask the government to do, is invest some time, some thought and some care into coming up with what really should be an administrative solution. Shouldn't require legislation. Perhaps something as simple as when a death is registered, noting if there is a child who might need support. Identify which department can best administer it and the easiest way to do it. When I met those children brought here by Winston's Wish to deliver the petition, it was heartbreaking to hear the stories and to know that I've not met anyone in this place who would not sympathise with them and who would not want to address the problems that they face, some of them in getting support, and recognise the significance in helping them. There's no political issue here. There is no divide over whether or not we should be supporting our children and our adults who perhaps did not get the support that they needed when they were younger, perhaps did not even realise they needed it because the advice was not there for them. We all want to do it, so what's stopping us? Many bereaved children won't take up the offer of support, but sometimes even knowing there are organisations out there to offer it provides the safety net that their families desperately need. They may never actually pick up the phone or send an email, but a protocol would mean that they would know that they could and who they could phone if they wanted to. It would be a way of making sure that we know where those children are, that they're getting the help that they need, and they know that we're here for them. Making sure that we can reach out and offer that support to every single child. It's the least we can do.
Yeah.
Thank you.